Hey folks, it is Joy coming to you today, and I really just wanted to give an update on the latest on the college admission scandal that broke. If I remember correctly, it was early March, mid March, maybe around March 12th, 13th. And a lot of colleges got caught up in it. Some of the elite colleges really. You want to say like Stanford was involved, Georgetown, Yale, some of the top schools, and so it's interesting to just kind of go through the case and come to find out there's a plethora of Hollywood celebrities who in some way or the other bribed their kids way into college. Excuse me there, and families from China paid millions. I think I heard upwards of $6 million to get their, basically buy their kids into these elite colleges. So let's take a look. I'm going to go through it, and most of this information is going to be from my own writing over at Kudus. And I'm gonna go from when the news first broke to what we know today. So stay tuned, and I'm going to go through it. So about March 12th, I remember I'm sitting at work and we hear news of Operation Varsity Blues, basically. The FBI comes out. I believe the guy's name was... I'm just looking through the affidavit here. I'm gonna have to look at his name. Give me 1 second here, looking at the name. Oh, I can't say this name. Special Agent John Bonavolanta. Called a press conference in the Boston area and basically revealed a long-term FBI investigation dubbed Operation Varsity Blues after the movie of the same name about a bunch of high school students who were dumb jocks or whatever. Anyhow, so one of the first things I saw was the scheme was basically the brainchild of a man named William Singer, who ran a non-profit that's on its face was like a college admissions prep type of thing. Come to find out, it was actually a facade, a charity facade to conceal bribe payments being paid by influential folks in the United States to William Singer in exchange for his connections to admissions insiders, coaches at elite colleges. And with those connections, one Singer could buy their kids way into college. Yale, Stanford, USC, Wake Forest, and Georgetown. And then two, the other side of the bribery cheating scheme was William Singer would guarantee a test score for a kid seeking admission to one of these schools. So parent pays, parent says, okay, I want my kid to go to Georgetown. They need a 34 on the ACT. William Singer gets his guy to go in and take the test for the students. And one of the ways, y'all go over a little bit. So basically, the scheme employed a variety of cheating methods. According to the charging documents, the investigators in the case have probable cause to believe that beginning as early as 2011, the defendants, dozens in total, used bribery on the college entrance exam administrators to facilitate cheating on college entrance exams, and two, bribed varsity coaches and administrators at top universities, and three, like the third real scandal here, according to the charging documents, was from William Singer himself, who concealed all of the cheating using the facade of a charity. Again, it was called like Edge Network or something. One of the things I said at the beginning was, I think one of the important things to remember about this scandal was there are some big name schools involved. Coaches from some of the nation's elite elite universities. Yale, Stanford, again, USC, Wake Forest, Georgetown. I think the University of Texas was involved. Who else? UCLA. And what we know now is between 2011 and 2018, parents paid Singer as much as $25 million total through his charity. Singer used this money to bribe coaches and other university officials to designate the children of these parents as recruited athletes, and or to have test takers sit in and take the SAT or ACT on their behalf. In addition to, in some cases, these test takers would, test taking administrators would change answers, correct answers to improve the score without the student's knowledge. And then I think one of the biggest reasons why this scandal has drawn national attention, aside from the fact that there are big name schools involved and large sums of money, and an entire FBI investigation was, come to find out that two of Hollywood's actresses, Felicity Huffman, known for her role primarily in Desperate Housewives, and actress Lori Loughlin, known for being Aunt Becky on the wholesome Full House, were both charged as a part of this investigation. And I'll just jump ahead here to date. Felicity Huffman pleaded guilty, or she pled guilty, and is facing somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 years, 24 months. And then Lori Loughlin decided not to plead guilty and is going forward with her trial. And I'll get to that a little bit later, because that ended up not being a good idea on her part. So let me go here. I will go back. Okay, so that's kind of what we heard at the first point. And I'll have the link to the charging document below in the description, so you'll be able to find that there and really read through the details. Now, one of the things I wanted to go over is exactly who's involved in some of the cheating. We know first that there were 2 SAT, ACT administrators, and how they fit into the scheme was that, as I pointed out earlier, if you had a student who needed a 34, but they were only gonna, without help, get up to the 29 range, then these 2 test administrators would either correct wrong answers on the tests that students had submitted, and these students, as directed by William Singer through their parents, took the test at special testing locations that William Singer had these test administrators at, I believe in California and Texas. And so Singer would tell them, hey, tell the testing office tell your counseling office that your kid's traveling for the weekend, and so they need to take the test in California, or they need to travel and take the test in Texas. So we had those two test administrators involved. An exam proctor, same kind of role. 9 coaches at elite schools, including the head sailing coach at Stanford, and the former head coach at Yale. 1 college administrator, senior athletic director, associate athletic director at USC, and a whopping 33 parents. And if I'm being honest, I think this is really just the tip of the iceberg of, the number of parents who have been involved in this case. But it's yet to be seen, I think, really how far everything will stretch. And I'm looking here now. I wanted to get back to the name of the nonprofit that William Singer allegedly ran this scheme through. It was called the Edge College and Career Network LLC, also known as the Key, and it was called a for-profit college counseling and preparation business. So that was the for-profit side, and then the nonprofit entity that was attached to that in a way was Key Worldwide Foundation. Says that he used both entities to funnel payments from parents and to university and test-taking officials. As a part of the scheme, Singer instructed the parents of the students to seek extended time for their children on college entrance exams by having them purport to have learning disabilities in order to obtain the medical documentation that the SAT and ACT testing companies usually require before granting students extended time. So as part of the scheme, Singer told these parents to have their kids pretend like they had learning disabilities so they could get extra time on the test. Wow. Let's see. Clients paid Singer between $15,000 and $75,000 per altered test. Singer earned trust of the clients by disclosing how he had run this same scheme many times in the past. And that's why I say I think 33 parents involved in this. It's just 33 families, really. It's just on the low side. And see, this is a direct quote from Singer. I guess with FBI listening in. I mean, I'm sure I did 30 of them at different, dates, because there are different dates. And they're all families like yours. And they're all kids that wouldn't have performed as well. And then they did really well. And it was like the kids thought, and it was so funny because the kids will call me and say, maybe I should do that again. I did pretty well. And if I took it again, I'll do better even. Right? And they have no idea that they didn't even get the score that they thought they got. End quote. So basically, I guess Singer thinks it's all a big joke. This whole scheme. It says Singer further explained to one of the parents involved, Kaplan, that he has successfully engaged in the same scheme with nearly 800 families. And so there we go. Okay. So that's kind of the extent of everything. And then you have the initial response from the university that you see come out the day of and in the following days. Let me see. This is a quote from University of Southern California. We are aware of the ongoing wide-ranging criminal investigation involving universities nationwide, including USC. USC has not been accused of any wrongdoing and will continue to cooperate fully with the government's investigation. It says a little bit more, and then it goes on to say, USC is in the process of identifying any funds received by the university in connection with the alleged scheme. Additionally, the university is reviewing its admission processes broadly to ensure that such actions do not occur going forward. Okay, so I'd be interested to see what actually changes. See, from the University of Texas, school officials, quote, are continuing to gather information and review our processes and believe this is an isolated incident in 2015 that involved one coach and no other university employees or officers. Okay. And then, let me see. Sorry, I'm clicking through all these. We had initial statement from Stanford, saying a subsequent joint statement from Stanford's president and provost revealed that the West Coast University is taking steps to ensure Stanford will not benefit from the money donated to the Stanford sailing program as part of this fraudulent activity, and will work to determine the most appropriate way to redirect the funds to an entity unaffiliated with Stanford. Okay. Statement from UCLA, noted that Coach Salcedo, who was named a defendant in the scheme, has been placed on leave and will have no involvement with the soccer team while this matter is under review. UCLA also stated that any prospective admitted or enrolled student that has misrepresented any aspect of his or her application or that information about the applicant has been withheld, UCLA may take a number of disciplinary actions up to and including cancellation of admission. So UCLA is saying if they find out any cheating happened, you can get your admission rescinded. Okay, I got a statement from Georgetown. Georgetown's men's tennis coach indicted as part of Operation Varsity Blues has not coached the school's tennis team since December 2017. Okay. This is from Yale. In a public statement released by the university, stated that the school's admission office, quote, relies on varsity coaches to provide honest and expert evaluations of individual applicants' athletic accomplishment and potential to contribute to a varsity team, end quote. The statement also emphasized the Department of Justice believes that the Department of Justice believes that Yale is a victim. Okay. So, I don't know, kind of a lukewarm response from the universities, if I'm being honest. And then we had a few days later, around March 14th, 2019, it's about a month and a half ago, right as the scandal broke, a couple days after, both Erica Olson and Kalia, I'm not pronouncing that, Kalia Woods, I believe students were at Stanford, filed a lawsuit in the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of California, a lawsuit alleging they were denied a fair opportunity to gain legitimate admission to elite colleges, and that their Stanford degrees will be devalued by college. Their Stanford degrees will be devalued by the college admission scheme. That's how rich, wealthy parents use side doors and cheating to get their kids into the nation's top schools. So Erica Olson and Kalia Woods are saying, filed suit, alleged that their Stanford degree will be devalued because of the admission scandal and that they were denied a fair opportunity to attend. Okay. These two students claim that the schools involved, including Yale, USC, and Georgetown, failed to properly oversee their respective admissions process and ensure that it was fair for all students who applied. Okay. That's fair. I think that's fair. Okay. So I'm looking at the rest of their suit. I want to say one of the students dropped out of the lawsuit, and I wish I had that in front of me, but I don't. So as far as I know, there's only one student still attached to the lawsuit. Some more people who were named as defendants. Again, Felicity Huffman and Lori Laughlin. Laughlin's husband. He's also a fashion designer, Massimo Giannulli. Jane Buckingham, marketing expert. Robert Zangrillo, CEO of venture firm Dragon Global, and Gordon Kaplan, co-chairman of global law firm Wilkie, Farr, and Gallagher. So some pretty high profile folks. I'm trying to see. So I think what the plaintiffs in the lawsuit are actually trying to gain class action status, alleging that any students who applied to these 8 universities and were denied admissions, while this scandal was happening, should receive their application fee back, since they weren't actually provided a fair opportunity. So any student who applied, saying the lawsuit hopes to secure damages for any student who applied to one or more of the schools named and was rejected between 2012 and 2019. Okay. Because the process was not fair. Students should have their application fee returned. Okay. So it'll be interesting to see if that lawsuit continues and where it goes. And then the final kind of update, which I think this was about early to mid-April, we learned that 13 parents involved in the case, including actress Felicity Huffman, we talked about earlier, and one coach, pleaded guilty to using bribery and other forms of fraud to cheat the college admissions process. So they decided to plead guilty in the scandal. And let's see. Wow, okay. I got that completely wrong. I said 24 months earlier, or 20 months, but it's actually 20 years. So it says Huffman faces up to 20 years in prison, but in exchange for her plea, federal prosecutors have said they will recommend a sentence at the low end of the range. Wow. I mean, you shouldn't have cheated, but damn, freak. That's a long time to get your kids into college. They don't even go to college for 20 years. Huffman released a statement saying, I am in full acceptance of my guilt and with deep regret and shame over what I have done. I am in full acceptance of my guilt and with deep regret and shame over what I have done. I accept full responsibility for my actions and will accept the consequences that stem from those actions. Okay. Around that same time period, I'm reading here that, you had those 13 plead guilty and get federal prosecutors will recommend the low side of the sentencing guidelines. And then a short while later, same federal prosecutors introduced a superseding indictment in the case, charging the other 16 parents who did not plea out with money laundering. It says the new money laundering charge comes as a result of allegations that parents funneled payments through the charity. Okay. And transferred money from outside of the U.S. into the country. With one count of conspiracy to commit mail fraud and wire fraud, in addition to the previous count of conspiracy to commit money laundering, each defendant faces a possible penalty of up to 20 years and a fine of at least $250,000. So I guess in this case, prosecutors will not, for the remaining defendants, recommend sentencing on the low side. The last few weeks, one of the other updates is that colleges have started to take action against the students involved. In early April, Stanford University acknowledged that it had kicked out a student whose application allegedly contained false information. The student involved, it says, was admitted after fabricating sailing credentials in her application. Oh. But the statement goes on to say she was accepted to the university through the normal application process and not as a recruited athlete, and still they kicked her out. Oh, but records show that the student's admission was followed by a $500,000 contribution to Stanford's sailing program through the former head coach. So she got in, and then there was a mysterious $500 donation. Okay. Let me see. Alrighty. It says in late March, Yale spokesman Tom Conroy announced that the university had rescinded the admission of one student as a result of the scandal. Of note, former Yale women's soccer coach Rudy Meredith, who you see on some of the pictures, was charged with taking a $400,000 bribe to accept an applicant who did not play soccer. Stanford, in an update to past policies, has announced that each varsity athletic recruit proposed by a Stanford coach for an athletic recommendation will now undergo a background check from a Stanford athletics executive for a second higher level verification of the athletic credentials. The University of Southern California has said it will deny admission to 6 students in the current application cycle allegedly involved in the scheme. Wow. So USC is denying admission to 6 students. Wow. All right, and that's kind of the latest on everything with the college admissions scandal, and we're kind of waiting to see superseding. We're kind of waiting to see what else happens as far as what those who have pleaded guilty, what kind of sentence they get. Really, what's going to be more interesting is how colleges change their admissions processes to really control for this kind of cheating, but also to just make the process less stressful, less competitive. You know, that the fact that someone pays $6 million to get into a college is telling. And so I think there's a lot of reform we could do on that process as a whole. And that's fine. But I think that's where we start. And, you know, that is Operation Varsity Blues, the college admission scandal in under 30 minutes. Hopefully that was, I think I hit everything pretty much. Again, we've had 13 parents plead guilty. They're looking at lighter sentences, but, you know, as I said before, I think there are going to be a whole lot more folks implicated in this cheating scandal before it's all said and done. But we'll see that. If that actually happens. All right, for now, don't forget to follow on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Kudus Learning, KOODOOS Learning, for the latest college admissions tips, news, and advice. And you can also follow me, Joy, at Joy_G_Turner on Twitter. I tweet a lot about higher education, college stuff as well. And then check back in to get the latest on live Q&As covering college admissions news. And then, of course, I'll be checking back in with the latest on the college admissions scandal. Until then, again, check me out on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, at Kudus Learning. And then don't forget to check out blog, write twice weekly, kuduslearning.com/blog. All right, and I'll see you guys later.